Hello and welcome to another I Draw You Watch, the weekly YouTube video where I draw one of my comic strips and talk a load of nonsense over the top. This week's is a little bit different in so much as I'm going to talk through the colouring section because of feedback I've had from various people saying that it doesn't look like I'm doing a lot when I'm colouring, so I just want to go through the process of the colouring and how I get certain effects, etc, etc. So that will be up at the end once I've gone through the sort of setting up stage and inking the strip. So you've got that to look forward to during the colouring this time, so hopefully you'll be able to follow along. Whether or not it's any use to anyone, or whether or not it's still something that people are not that interested in and they're still clicking off after the inking, then maybe I'll stop doing the colour section of it and I'll just put the strip up like I mentioned last week. So yeah, that's coming up to look forward to. That is a massive head for the body. Yeah, that's better. That's a bit better. Yeah, proportions, Ian. I think I must have realised that when I was drawing. I was like, wow, that's a massive head. You'll notice I'm drawing in orange for some reason, just because because it's on Manga Studio, like on when I do it on Photoshop, I have the green set up already on me on my pencil layer, so it just automatically does it. But in Manga Studio, I always select the colour, so I just select a different one every time, just for shits and giggles, because just to change things up. So it's orange, this one, which is a bit of a, I don't actually remember what this strip is. Oh, no, I do remember this strip. It's not, you won't actually see this strip until Thursday. So if you're watching this is a sneak preview of the strip. You won't even have to go to the site on Thursday. You won't even have to please do though, please visit the site, because I like it when people come to my site, and tell your friends as well, because I really would like to grow my audience, so that'd be great. Please, thank you. This week, what can I talk about this week? Right, I said I was going to talk about Game of Thrones last week, didn't I? Because it's all finished now. And anyone who's watched my Game of Thrones strip will know about my, Game of Thrones sort of philosophy, and that I only care about 3 people, and it's done what I thought it was going to do. Obviously, one of those 3 people is now dead. Oh, by the way, spoilers. So if you don't, if you like Game of Thrones, you've seen it. If you don't, fuck you. I'm spoiling it. So yeah, the Hound's dead. You don't see him die, but she leaves him. He's septic. He's going to die. They did it a different way to the book, but I thought that it was going to happen. So they have done the same thing. So that Arya's off on her own now. But yeah, they've done what I think everyone's sort of not going to be in the same place. So next season they're probably going to introduce loads of new people that we've got to give a shit about. Did anyone give a shit about the Spanish geezer this year? No. They wanted him to kill the fucking mountain, but no one cared, did they? Really, about him? No, they didn't. So I don't know how it's going to work, because it's just everyone's just going to be spread from fucking ear and sunder. She's going to be off in the assassins training place. Little Lannister's going to be off in Dawn, where all the new people are going to be introduced, and everyone else is all over the place. Jon Snow will still be at the wall because that boy's been there since season 1. Yeah, winter's still coming. It's 5 years on. Winter's still coming. Yeah, I don't know if I care enough about it to carry on watching it. I'll see how it starts off. It better sort of grip me, because I can see myself going, yeah, no one's in it that I care about. It was the dynamic between Arya and the Hound that was really, really good. So now the Hound's gone, it's just, it's just one of those things, I guess. You have to, if you're going to do a TV show based on a book, you can't keep alive people that have been killed off in the book. But I don't know. There's other stuff that's happened that I know about just because of reading things on Kotaku mainly and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like a shit ending. to be honest, the whole wall fiasco was a bit weak as well. It just seemed like they were never really that in danger. Obviously, her being killed by the kid, that was a bit of a, you knew she was going to die, but the kid, yeah, that was cool. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Game of Thrones and what's going to happen. This expression I draw right now, I think it is the shit. It's like the smug sort of know it all. It's really good. I was really glad I captured it. I'll do even better when I ink over it. It's really good. What else can I talk about at the moment? None of my TV shows are on at the moment. I'll give you a rundown of some of the stuff that me and Jodie watch on a regular basis. Law and Order Svu is like one of our favourite programs, and that's finished at the moment. That's just gone for the season in England. If you don't know about it, it's basically, if you don't know about Law and Order, there's not a lot I can tell you. It's a massively old show. It's like 20 seasons in America. And Law and Order SVU is based on the Special Victims Unit of New York, which deal with like the the sensitive cases like rape and pedos and all that. And it's fucking awesome, and it's gritty a lot of the time, but yeah, really good. So that's off at the moment, so I can't watch that. On the lighter side, we watch Castle with Nathan Fillion of Firefly fame, which is also awesome. It's also got Stana Katic in it, which I featured her in a video I did the other day, which was awesome. But that's off at the moment as well. I'm just going through like sort of the days of the week of what we watch. So Hawaii 5-0 we watch, that's off at the moment. NCIS Los Angeles, that's off at the moment. Normal NCIS we watch, that's off at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like everything, because it's summer, no one puts any TV on in the summer. It used to be you'd get CSI Miami because we watch all the CSIs. CSI Miami was the worst of them because it was just so ridiculous. They turn up to a crime scene in a fucking like bright white pantsuit, and there's a shitload of blood everywhere, and she's in heels, like stepping around the blood, going, "Ooh, put a 1 down there. That's evidence. Take a picture." Yeah, so that was a bit. That used to be on in some. Nothing else did. So everything else is finished. What else do we watch? Modern Family, that's still running at the moment, but I think it's coming. Actually, I think The Wedding that we've just seen was probably the last one. So that's probably done. What else do we watch? We watched a lot of comedies. We've missed this season's Mike and Molly. We watched that. That was funny. It's one of those that you can watch. You can probably watch it just whenever. It's not one of those ones you have to keep in touch with. Same with Men at Work, which is good. It's got a lot of sort of throwback actors in it, like the geezer whose name I can't remember is in it a lot. What is his name? He's got a weird first name. Anyway, the geezer who done the voice of the guy in the bald geezer was J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man, the original 3 that Tobey Maguire did. What's his fucking name? It's like PJ something or other. Anyway, he's in it a bit and it's quite funny. What else do we watch? So yeah, we've got CSI. That's actually on at the moment. CSI's only just started over in the UK. So that's probably the only thing we've got recording week on week now. So yeah, we watch a lot of telly. That's what I'm saying to you. Basically, we watch a lot of telly. The couple of things we've missed, like we missed this season's Blue Bloods. I really like Tom Selleck. I mean, Tom Selleck is the shit. Magnum PI, fucking awesome. Mr. Baseball, what a film. So yeah, Blue Bloods we like. Rookie Blue, that is a top TV show. If you are my age, then you probably liked Dawson's Creek when it was out, and if you like Dawson's Creek, then Rookie Blue is basically Dawson's Creek set in the Canadian Police Force. It's just super drama and but filled with like childish angst. It's just excellent. It's just an excellent TV show. It's definitely one of my favourite TV shows. But yeah, like nothing's on during the summer, which is really annoying. I know the World Cup's on, you got that to look forward to and stuff like that, and there's a lot of cricket on and so forth. But of an evening when you're sitting down and you're looking at the TV, it's pretty fucking god awful. So that's when you look into some of that Sky Plus gold, and there's nothing there. There is absolutely nothing there, and we don't have the movie channels at the moment because we're in the process of moving. So no movie channels. I'm not going to tell you where we're moving to. under strict instructions after yesterday. No, it's just I came up with a comic strip about. Well, I came up with a joke, and then I came up with a comic strip about that joke, and then it kind of gives away where we live. So I didn't. I think I'm going to give it a miss. So yeah, that's just a bit abstract. I should probably just have left that. This is where I decided to put a hand in this frame, and then I realised that I haven't sketched anything in, so I'll just go in there and quickly sketch a hand. Just the basic finger placings. Just going to draw it in. No, come on Ian, put the fingers in. You know you need to, because you're a retard at drawing hands. Look at this. This is awful. Let's try. There we go. Look, thumb goes like that. That's it. Finger there, finger there. There we go. That's what you need. Something like that. God dear, useless. And that's how you draw a hand. What was I talking about? Oh, don't you just love how I wander off on these meandering rants, and then I get a little bit confused. Oh, I was talking about a joke that I'm not going to do, so I don't need to worry about that. What else can I talk about? I've got a new couple of games. One of them I won't talk about because it's a Lego game and fucking they're all the same. And I haven't played it yet because me and Jodie play them together because she loves them, which is why we get them. And they are a ton of fun, like co-op, but there's not much to say other than they're exactly the same. If you've played Lego Star Wars, they're all the same. The only one that's not worth playing is Indiana Jones 2. That was fucking awful. That was an awful game. Just because of the sort of HUD setting where you have to try and unlock your levels, but you don't know how, like, it's just a baffling maze of shit. So that's my recommendations, Lego wise. And I've also got Sniper 3, or Sniper Elite 3, which is the World War II sniper game. This time it's set in Africa, which is the worst setting ever for any game. Now, if you see any game series, the episode that's set in Africa, is it your favourite? No, of course not. It's the worst one. Far Cry 1, excellent. Far Cry 3, excellent. Far Cry 2, set in Africa, shit. Oh, it looked good because it's got the Crytek engine, but it was a shit game. Fact. So, it's set in Africa, and it's ropey looking, and it controls awfully. I mean, it's not the worst game ever controlled, and it's not the worst game graphically. That goes to Blood Ties or whatever the fuck. What was that? Blood. There was a Vietnam game, Blood in the title, and it was number 2 as well. It was just, oh, fuck me, it was awful. I played the first level, and I was like, I can't believe this is an actual game. I think it was like people becoming werewolves in Vietnam, something like that. I didn't really play much of it, like I said. So anyway, this one's it's just, yeah, it's a bit ropey. Like you go to do stuff and it doesn't do as you would see, and people are like, yesterday I was playing it and I'm doing a level, and at the end of the level there's a tank I've got to take out. So I put a landmine in the route of the tank, watching the route of the tank, and I go, oh, it's going there. So I go in, put a landmine down, and hide behind some fucking sandbags a mile away. It goes over the landmine, blows the tracks off, but it doesn't blow the tank up. So then the tank immediately starts shooting at me. It knows exactly which sandbags I'm behind a mile away. It's absolute horse shit. So you'd think a game with a lot of sniping and tactics would have a little bit more in the way of, I don't know, leniency when you're planning something, but it doesn't. It's like, oh, I know exactly where you are because of magic. So, because the Nazis had magic, so what can you do? It is fun shooting Nazis again, though. I haven't shot Nazis in a long time. There's not many World War II games these days. I mean, there used to be a glut of them, didn't there? Like late 90s, early 2000s. Fuck me, you couldn't throw a rock and not hit a fucking Nazi game. But apart from Wolfenstein, there's not been a Nazi game recently. So it's been good to shoot Nazis again because they deserve it, because they're Nazis. But overall, yeah, it's an awful game. But there's nothing else out, so what are you going to do? I actually did want to get Murdered Soul Suspect, but they sent me Sniper Elite 3 first, so I am going to complete it and send it back. But I'd rather have Murdered. Because I was thinking about doing Murdered as one of my playthroughs once Ripper's finished. Thinking it might be in the same vein, but we'll see. I might do Team Fortress 2. What are your thoughts on that? Doing Team Fortress 2, do a game run through where you watch me play, Team Fortress 2. and because that's usually quite amusing. And I'm hoping, because I'm thinking that if I can play Team Fortress 2, if there's enough people on here that have got it, or it's free on Steam, so even if you haven't got it and you wanted to play, we could actually set up a game where we record, or I record the audio on it, thereby, and then put it up as the playthrough, and then you guys get to see it back as we were playing. It's one of those sort of things. So I was thinking about doing that. That's something that's on the horizon. Ripper's got another 5 episodes to run, I think, and that's when something else will have to come in. I think I do apologise for no XCOM yesterday, but I haven't got around to editing it and uploading it. So I might do that as soon as I've finished recording this, actually, and then they'll both go up together. But I think XCOM's probably got about another 6 episodes to go. So they might finish about the same time. Which will be a pain in the ass because then I'll need to come up with 2 different fucking things to fill the time with. Depending on how popular they're getting, the XCOM views are dropping off, so I might not carry on with that. Okay, that's about all I've got to talk about, which is quite good because it's just coming to the end of this now, of my inking phase, where you will have the joy of watching how I colour this video. So I'm gonna stop talking about nonsense now, and I'll pass over to myself a week ago, who already recorded how I colour these strips. I'll see you next time. I'll probably say that at the end of the next bit as well. Okay, so I've heard from a few people, one of them being my wife. When I do the colouring, it's hard to differentiate when I'm actually doing stuff and when I'm just sort of selecting layers and whatnot. So for this episode, since I've done me talking, I've done me chatting, for the colouring part, I'm actually going to go through my usual process. So here we are with the strip that you've just watched me draw. The pencil lines are still in there, so the first thing we do is get rid of them. And then the second thing we do is unlock the background and stick in a normal background. Now my background, this is my general living room background. That's the base colour, and I will do highlights over the top of it. The next thing I do is hide all the lettering. That one, and that one. And then to do like the broad, when you've got a large section of area, like all of these word balloons, they're all going to be the same colour. I've got my balloon fill layer, which I then select, and then I select this magic wand tool, which then selects everything inside any layer, any border that's been drawn. So it will be inside the frame border, it will be inside the bubble lines, etc, etc. So you click on it, it just highlights the inside of the bubble like that. Now if I was to just colour that in like so, okay, when you get rid of the line, if you go in and look, it doesn't quite meet. Oh, this one's actually quite good. It's actually done quite well. Sometimes you get it that it doesn't actually feel quite up to the line. Let's have a look on the tails, because it's usually on the tails that you see it. So you can just see down there that it's not quite filled into the end of the line. So if we just come back out so that I can see them all again, and we undo that. And then what I do is go to select and then modify and then expand, and then you can expand by however many, and I expand by 3 pixels, and that enlarges the area just ever so slightly. And because my balloon fill layer is below my balloon line layer, it will fill behind the line, so you'll get a much smoother finish like that. And then everything's filled right behind the line. Then what we do is we go into, at this point I usually bring the words back in, because otherwise I forget to do it sometimes. Oh shit, oh bugger, let's get back, thank you. And then what I do, let's get that to a smooth line, thank you. I just select the paintbrush tool and I colour in over the top of the frame lines where I've go, because that's kind of not my signature, but it's kind of one of the more noticeable things about my strip, is that I go over the lines
of the frame border, because it's just a waste of space, those gutters. Sometimes you have to have them in because the separation looks god awful. If you just have a line, if you just have 3 boxes, it would look absolutely awful, and that's fine. But the top and bottom gutter, and even the side gutters, you can intrude on them, especially because it's a white space, and it just helps you plan where you're doing your when you're setting out your layout. So that's all of it, and then that's basically, we've got that bit done. So now we go down to the colour layer, and the colour layer would be where I stay for the rest of this. Now, like I said, you've got start off with the black hair. There's nothing else black in the panels. Inside of the mouth's usually black, but I always usually colour them in. And again, we do the modify, expand 3, and then we colour it in, and that's that done. And then we can do the same with Warren's hair. Select, modify, expand 3 pixels, and then I've got my palette here with all of the colours. So I've got my skin tones, I've got Warren's t-shirt, I've got Lawrence's t-shirt, then I've got Warren's hair, Kip's skin, jeans, all of Waffle's colours. So we just select that colour. Now, while we've got everything highlighted, because obviously with the black I don't usually do any highlights or shading or anything else. However, while we've got it all highlighted there, I then like to zoom in to do my shadow. So usually I do the light coming in from the right hand side. It's just always the way I think about it. And then I get the darker tone, and I can shade in Warren's hair. So if the light's coming in, if the light's coming in from this direction, like that, then the shade will be on this side. Okay, so you want to do the shade, and because I've got it still highlighted, I can go right through, and it won't draw on the purple either side of it. Okay, so you just do the shading in the corner, and then shade on the left side, of that knot on the top of his head, and then sometimes if it's coming in from this side, I'll just do a little inside curve like that, but I don't think I'll bother with this one. I just think it's okay like that. And we go on to this side, do the exact same thing, because it's just the same image, so it's the same situation, it's just zoomed in a little bit more. Needs to come around a little bit more than that. That's it. The whole of this bit can go, because that would be behind the shadow, and then the little lump again. You'll see there, this is the one thing about doing it this way, is you'll see just below his eyebrow there's a little bit of hair that I haven't managed to get because I didn't see when I was zoomed out and selecting the area that I was going to colour. So you'll often see me going backwards and forwards doing little bits like that sometimes, because I've not managed to capture them, and it's only when I zoom in like this and start doing the shading that I notice it, and it's a pain in the bloody arse. But it's just a case of not selecting or deselecting your selection, and then colouring it in just by hand. Okay, the next biggest area is the skin tones, and you have to remember to do the neck, because I often forget that. Then the hand in there, those 2 fingers, face, neck, face. I've not done any hands in this one. I've done one hand. Laziness. Select, modify, expand. Okay, that's my skin tone. Bang. The whole lot's done. And then obviously we go in, and because we know the light's coming in from the right, we can shade on the left hand side. And I've got my darker skin tone, which I use for shading. And I will probably get rid of that. The one thing that you do, I don't do a second layer for the shading on the colours, so if I do make a mistake So for example, if I was to draw across his face like that, I couldn't erase it because it'll erase the actual colour underneath. So if I go over the line like I just did across his neck there, I have to go back to the original colour, the original base colour of whatever it is I'm shading, and then colour over the top. Or I can undo the whole thing and might do it again, but in the interest of time I tend not to do that. I mean, all of this is in the interest of time, because there's a lot of people that would colour in by hand, like the whole thing. They would come in and they would intricately colour all these areas, but I mean, that's just, there's doing things because it's what's the word? There's doing things because it's traditional, and you know, that's how people view that artists should do it. See, I've come across the neck again there, but that's probably enough of a shade, so I can just go over that, but that's fine. Yeah, there's doing it the traditional way that people feel like you should do it because it's all, and then there's just doing things the long way around because you think it's the sort of traditional way. It's just a waste of your time. And when you're trying to knock out, it's alright if you're a full-time cartoonist and you can sit and work on your comic for 4 hours every day and you've got nothing else to do. Back in the 60s and 70s and 80s when Schultz was doing it, and Waterson and Jim Davis, all you've got to do is draw one strip that day, and then you send it off to your publisher and he does the rest, and the syndicates manage all of your, you know, revenue and your ad stuff and merchandise if you were doing it. Obviously not if you're Waterson, but if you're a cartoonist and you're doing the whole thing yourself, you run your own website and you've got to ship prints, and yes, there's another area where, because I've done the thing, I've not coloured him. So yeah, so if you're shipping prints and you're doing commissions and you've got t-shirt sales and you've got to run your web store and you've got to upload it to the site and you want to write a blog underneath, it's an absolute waste of time for you to sit and colour and do everything like that. So, you know, it's your choice at the end of the day, but there's no way I'm doing it, especially while I'm not. I've undone the bleeding line here, haven't I? Because I did that. I'll have to come back to that. See, this is where it can get away from you, because you're concentrating on doing one thing, like colouring in that line, and then that's what leads to errors that you then see when you've drawn the strip. I'm not worried about going into the eye there because of, I'm going to be colouring the eyes in later, obviously. And there we go, and that's the skin shaded basically. Now I can get rid of that and do that one. But yeah, if I was a full-time cartoonist, I may have a different opinion, and I may want to do things a little bit more traditional, or I may want to spend a little more time doing this, that and the other. Like sometimes you won't even see me shade it because it's just time constraints. But while I'm only doing this, you know, off my own back, while I've got a full-time job and while I've got other commitments, I'm not going to beat myself up just because I'm not colouring it in by hand for every single panel every single week. White is the next, especially if I draw Warren, white is the next biggest thing because his sleeves are white. But what you will notice is if I colour the sleeves there, because the teeth here are surrounded by other white, other colours on this layer, it won't actually colour them in. Where it would colour, like obviously when I did the skin, it covered it, blanket across. But because now the colour is surrounding it, it blocks the colour from doing things. So if I do this sleeve, it will do that sleeve, but it won't do the eye or the teeth. See? So you have to make sure that whatever you have selected, you go in and do afterwards. When I do, I usually go just to the next grey, depending on whether if it's just an interior room, I'll go to the next, the lightest grey on the grey chart that's at the top of your normal default palette on Photoshop, and I'll select that, and then that'll be my shade colour. Now, if he's outside and it's the sun, or you know, there's some other different type of light that's causing the shadows, I may use, you know, a cream effect, or you know, whatever the light decides. Because when you have shade on white, if you look, depending on the light that's shining on it, will depend on what the shade colour is. And it is good to get some references when you are looking at just regularly, taking in information, just your brain taking in images. If you look, or if you know what to look for, you can bring it to the artwork later on. We've got Lawrence's jumper, that's done. There we go. And then I've got the dark shade. And obviously I have these palette, I have these colours saved because you don't want to be drawing them in a different thing because people recognise their colours. Like if you said to, if you was asked what's the colour of Garfield, you would say he's orange. And for a better example, what colour is Calvin and Hobbes' top? Obviously it was a black and white strip, but when he did colour it was always red and black. And it was always the same red and black. It's not like Waterson just went through whatever red he had handy. He would make sure that he had a plentiful supply of the red he used in his watercolour palette, or however he was colouring it. It was usually watercolours. So I have them all saved so that, and I know a lot of the codes because they've all got like a 6-digit code. So for example, Lawrence's jumper is 8080FF and Warren's jumper is 8080FF. Lawrence's is FF and then treble 55 or just 4 5s. I don't mind giving them secrets away. If you make a webcomic and it does more successful than mine, and it's because you chose the same colours as me, I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over it. Oh, I might actually. I'll be perplexed for sure as to why it was so. Why that was the reason that your webcomic took off and mine floundered. I had the colour, man. I just didn't apply it right. I don't think that's how it works. I just went for red and blue because those are the two, the two primary colours when it comes to what people choose for things. It's like your Man United and your Man City, your Sheffield United and your Sheffield Wednesday, etc., etc. Their tongues are always the same colour as well. It's just little things that you'll pick up today that I'll be teaching you. Or not teaching you, 'cause I'm not teaching you that they're the same colours. I'm just telling you. Just information that I'm passing along. But if you are an artist or a cartoonist and you do use a tablet like me to create the work and you use Photoshop, I hope some of this does give you a few pointers. There's loads of stuff I got and I've picked up like just by doing the work. So a lot of it you pick up as you go. There's a good saying by one of the Webcomics Weekly guys, Dave Kelly, who draws Sheldon. Not the character from The Big Bang Theory. There's a comic called Sheldon. And he said, first you get, see, this is one of those, before I say that quote, this is what I'm saying. When you go over the top, I can't erase that line, and also I've got to finish colouring. Oh shit. Finish colouring in. I can't erase that line because if I do, all it will do is erase the whole of the colour palette like this. So what I then do is get the light, get that, select the paintbrush tool, not the eraser, and then just go over it like so, and that way it does the same effect as erasing it. Yeah, so Dave Kellett of Sheldon Comics said first you get good, then you get quick, then you get good quick. Basically what he means by that is first you start drawing better than what you did, then, I love this expression by the way on Lawrence's face. It took me a while to get it, but I was really proud of it when I did. It's kind of that sort of half sly, half as if he knows something you don't. Oh God, I'm bouncing around all over the place here. Why don't you finish your thought before you start bouncing on the next topic, you div? So yeah, what he means is you get good, you get better than you were, then you get quick at what you do, and then you're able to do your comic as well as you can very quickly. And he's right, because if I was just doing a normal strip like this, 2 talking heads, I could turn it, your 3/4 angle. I could probably knock it out in an hour now. Whereas back when I started and it took me 4 hours a strip, an hour would seem like a dream when I was doing some. But then I started on vector rather than pixels, and I started. Another way you can do it is, because obviously if I colour the eye, it'll spread out here through, because I leave my eyes open. I've always done it like that. I just do. That's just the way I draw. I just like it. I prefer it rather than trying to find a perfect circle. The other way you can do it is colour that little bit in with the colour you want, and then you can fill the rest of the eye. But sometimes if I zoom in, I think you can see it. You can just see a hairline there where it doesn't quite meet up. So you then have to go in with the paintbrush tool and just go over that line, which isn't, it's not the worst thing in the world. And obviously if you are under certain time constraints, you don't just want to colour the eyes in, you can do it that way. And that way it's just saves you a little bit more time again. I'm sure I was saying something before I tried to point that out, but I'll be damned if I can remember what it was. But I hope the original idea, I was talking about how I hope some of this helps you, because I learnt a lot from doing the work, but I also learnt a lot from watching videos like these of other artists like Scott Kurtz and Michael Turner and Jim Lee, and they give you like simple things, like if you draw a line on a thing, it's never going to be perfectly straight. And it took me, well, it didn't take me ages. It was only until I watched the video where I realised that if you hold the shift button down, it will always draw it at a 90-degree angle. Even if I try to draw diagonally, like I'll move the cursor from here to here. If I try to do it with the shift key held down, it will just draw dead straight. Get rid of all that shit now. Okay, and the last thing you want to do when you're colouring is obviously the background layer. I have my highlight for the background here already mapped out, and then obviously because the light's coming in from the right, that's where your window is, so the window lighting will appear on the left. So if the light's coming in from this direction, then the window's obviously off frame here somewhere, so the highlight will appear on this side of the room. And I usually just do something like that. And then obviously based on where it was, keep it so it goes well below his face there. Yeah, because if you move the image, the highlight stays the same size. It doesn't stay the same size. It grows with your image. So you have to remember, and then this last panel is roughly the same, so I'll just put it in like that. And then you've got your highlight panels, and sometimes I'll do it as like a sash window. So that it separates the panes, goes through his eyes there. Comes back through the back of his head, and then this one is about the same, just comes out the front, and then just above his head through his eyes like so. And then we go back to the original colour and just fill in that area on the 3 panels, and then you've got your window panes. And that's it, and that's a finished comic coloured. Hopefully that was a bit more interesting for you in the colour section. If it wasn't, I'll listen back to it and I'll ask Jodie and see what she says. But if it wasn't, I will maybe leave out the colour sections in future, and I'll just do the drawing and then put the final image up at the end. I always got the link to the comic anyway, so if you want to see this comic and have a read, you can always click on the link below and go to the website and see it. And that's it for I Draw, You Watch this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been helpful. And until next week, goodbye.